Now, mailbag time. As I mentioned, plenty to get into here. And you know who's first, as always, every week. This is our man, the newly minted mod himself, Mr. Ghost Phantom, taking up the space in my DMs. Let me crack it open here. All about Miesha. So, Steve, there's a lot to unpack here, so I will read this one out. As he provided GIFs even, or little videos, as you can see. So we got some visuals for you guys provided by our man. It's got Ghost is pretty much a part of the show now. He's pretty much
part of the show.
He's pretty much, I mean, yes, he's pretty much a host at this point. So I love it, man.
He's a quiet
All
host.
right.
He specifically said he never wants to be shown on video.
Yes, behind the scenes. He's our Jamie, sort of. Pull that shit up, Ghost. So here we are for the Twitter mailbag. He says Miesha Tate has displayed improved striking mainly in her entries. And so as you can see here, 3-second clip. He says here she level changes, followed up by a head and shoulder feint to see how her opponent reacts. Yep, looks very nice. And then he says in the past, Tate used to use just lateral movement with a head and shoulder feint, but never built off it, as shown against Holm.
Oh, God, I love that Holm fight. That's the one Holm fight that I actually liked.
And then he says Tate has also added the ability to circle and line up her jab as the opponent moves forward. Yeah, that's a good little clip there. Looks very nice. And then he goes, in the past, she would just try to slug it out with no thought. And a rare kind of case here, I think, because this was against Ronda. You know, a lot of bad blood. Don't know if that's a great example, but true. It is an example.
They right threw, too. They hated each other.
Right in the very beginning of that.
Great rivalry.
Yeah, there was a lot to unpack with that one. And then he continues on.
It was so good.
Yep. He says, this is what impressed me the most, her ability to cut the ring. In this sequence, she used probe steps to back her opponent up. While her opponent backs up, she would take a lateral step towards the cage to force her opponent to move the opposite direction. You love to see that. And then here we are with some options here. As he says, considering Miesha's main strategy to take the fight to the ground and her measured approach for entries, what type of opponent do you give her next? And we have 3 options here, Steve. So he starts off with option A, a lower ranked opponent somewhere in the 9-10 range for the purpose of refining her entries.
Let me
option B,
rankings, if we're going to talk about rankings.
Yeah,
but keep reading and listening.
Yeah. Yeah. Option B, Jermaine or Holly right away. If you guys think that what she does now can pose a big threat to these fighters, or option C, Pena after Nunes finishes her. So
okay, we'll start with Pena because that's the easiest one. They'll never fight. They're friends.
Well, they would fight if champion, yeah. But that's not
literally it.
You know, Pena's not going to do that.
Yeah, they won't fight otherwise.
Option A is out the window though right away.
What was option A? Lower rank, somewhere in the 9-10 range. So 9-10 range is Landsberg is 10 and Macy is number 9.
So here is the immediate thought, and you know, we've Pat and I over at the Body Lock, shameless plug, kind of talked about it a little bit right when the signing was announced, but Miesha with a win, and it's still possible, I think, very well could just get the next title shot right off of this. Very possible. I don't know if she would quite want that. Maybe one more to get kind of fully comfortable again. But
I don't think so, man. I mean, personally, I wouldn't care if Miesha were to get a title shot right off. I'd be fine with it, but I don't think that they'll do it. I think that they'll make a bigger fight.
Yeah. So
rather than give her a title fight, they'll make a big fight. You know, maybe headline a fight against a Holly Holm or something.
Yeah. So that's exactly my thought process. Is she's one fight away for sure. And so here, I think that you give her one of three options here, which is GDR, Holm, already mentioned by Ghost, or Aldana. One of those 3, because those 3 are all around the title. Obviously, 2 of them already lost to Nunes, so you don't really want to see them get a title shot, but they they're up there. They're up there regardless. So I think that in terms of who the top two contenders are, Aldana and Miesha are now them, depending on what happens with a fight we will talk about later that is this weekend. But then you're killing off one of them, right? So maybe you don't want to do that when you could do, and probably should do it this way, where Aldana goes on to face GDR. Brilliant fight. Make that a main event, please. And then Holly Miesha rematch, as that's a main event as well. Yeah. And I mean, of course, it's those four, I think, can be mixed up any way you want, except you can't. You're probably not Holm versus Aldana 2 just yet. Very, very much too soon for that. But you take those four, mix and match in any way that you can. Maybe the ones I just said would be best. Hard to know, but I think Miesha is definitely going to be one fight away, especially considering just the landscape. And Irene, I think, will also need one more win because of the weight miss. So I think that essentially that would be option B for me, right? I don't think, the Pena one, we pretty much addressed that already. So, I think definitely B if I was to do a narrowed down here for you, Ghost. So,
I already said on Twitter right after Miesha won that I want her to fight Holly Holm again. I want to see that rematch again. I think that they're at different points of their careers now. It's a perfect fight, I think. And Holly's still the number one contender or whatever she is. Yeah. So, I mean, if Miesha gets the fight against Holly, good for her. I like it. I want that. I want to see that fight. I already put it out there on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, would not be mad at it. Just good to have these kind of fun options at bantamweight. You know, that's something we've missed for a bit. Yeah.
Finally, yes, and we get a big bantamweight fight again this weekend. We had one last weekend with Aldana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back to back, 3 in a row. So
yeah, we're getting great bantamweight fights.
Movement.
Finally.
Yeah, so definitely. Great analysis there from Ghost. He really has a good analytical mind for kind of seeing things, as you guys have probably noticed over the weeks. And a good question there, but he has a little bit more follow-up. He says, put yourselves in a manager position for Tate where you want the best possible outcome for her. So he says, follow-up. Do you want to see more improvements from her, or do we rush her? And the reason he asks is because only a few female fighters are able to give multiple looks to disguise their entries. And he gives the examples of Nunes, Holm, Jermaine, Valentina, Weili, Rose, Joanna, Cyborg. So that's the thing is, like, I think we pretty much addressed it already, but the UFC is gonna rush her, at least to some extent. Like, is one more fight between a title shot rushing? I guess so, but in the division right now, probably not.
I do think that it's a little bit rushed.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't mind it at all. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. I don't think that they'll do it. I think that they'll give her like a GDR or a Holm.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of, I think that's just.
If we were her manager, though, we want a title shot, right? Right? Fuck it. Former champion, we want a title shot. Screw fighting Holly Holm again. Screw fighting Jermaine Durandamy again. Title shot, baby.
Yeah. And surprisingly, though, Steve, her and GDR never fought. I'm very surprised that hasn't happened. Yeah. So
yeah, they've both been around forever.
Yep. And so that cleans up all of Ghost's comments. And yes, no problem, buddy. And I see that you guys are already being put to work this week with the new duties.
And I have a feeling it's the same person.
I agree. I agree. So
Rain says, title shot for Miesha, see what she can do.
Yeah, I mean, at least she got one in, right? Like that was the biggest thing, but we'll see. It'll be very interesting. And who knows, Amanda, she's fighting in 3 weeks now, 3-ish, 2-ish coming up here. So depending on how badly she hurts her fists on Juliana, yeah, who knows? I mean, Who knows how much longer she'll need. So timing wise, we can look at it that way. I don't know. Either way, I am pretty confident in saying we'll see Miesha before the end of the year once more.
For sure.
That seems safe.
Yeah.